evening, viewers. This is Malika Mishra and you're watching Ask Profit only on NDTV Profit.
And I'm your host, Himakshi Bahugna. And together we'll be taking up all your stock-related queries. So don't forget to WhatsApp us or call us directly. The numbers are there flashing on your screens right now, viewers. And on the show, we are joined by Dinesh Sahni, Senior Research Analyst, Invest for Edu on the fundamentals, and Sundar Keva, Technical and Derivatives Analyst, Ashika Institutional Equity on the technical front. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Good evening, Himakshi and Malika.
Good evening. Now let's get started with the show. First query is written to us from Girish. He hails from Bengaluru and he holds 150 shares of Allcargo Gati at 100 apiece. He's looking for a long-term outlook on the counter. So Dinesh, I directly come to you. How does the fundamentals of Allcargo Gati look like to you? Are you optimistic on the counter?
I would suggest to wait for some time. Maybe if they want to invest, I think at least for 1 to 2 quarters before they are not posting good set of numbers. So if I'll see this March quarterly numbers, so I'd only slight increase in sales, but on the margin front they have not done very well. In fact, from last years and on quarter front, they have not posted good set of numbers. Only I think other income has boosted the overall profits. And so what I would suggest is at least for 1 to 2 quarters, they should wait. And until and unless they don't see any upside in their quarterly revenues, then they can consider it. Otherwise, I would not suggest.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. And now we're being joined by, there's another WhatsApp query. Karan has written to us from Punjab. He currently holds 71 shares of Angel One at 2,630 rupees a piece. He is sitting on a profit of about 45,000 and plus. Angel One was also up in trade today, perhaps also, infused by a business update. But speaking of Angel One from a long-term perspective, Sundar, I'd like to take this question to you. Although the fundamentals might reflect to be strong, but technically speaking, what do the charts suggest?
Yeah, so Malika, on daily time frame, the stock has clearly shown a trend reversal kind of structure, creating a higher edge and higher low pattern. Apart from this, if you see the moving averages, it is trading below the price, which is again a positive point for the stock. Now, talking about the current outlook of the stock has halted from say 23 May to till date, and today the stock has given a quite a good breakout. Now this kind of sideways movement from 1 to 2 week is very normal for a stock which has risen from 2271 levels to 3065 levels. So I would suggest the viewer to hold the stock, and I could see that the stock could be making its new high in coming few weeks or say a month. And apart from this, like this is a purely momentum game, so I would suggest the viewer to place the stop loss at the 20-day moving average, which is currently placed at 2,868.
All right, thank you so much, Sundar, for that. We have another WhatsApp query. Vishwanath holds 30 shares of Tata Motors at 1,008 apiece, and he hasn't mentioned the time horizon. So I'd like to take both the fundamental and technical view on the counter. Firstly, coming to you, Dinesh, how are the fundamentals of Tata Motors looking like? And in the auto space in particular, is Tata Motors one of your top picks?
So I would answer like this. So basically, I would go for those companies which are in premium segment. I know that Tata is also in premium segment, but I think overall in exports front and in EV front, they are not able to do as per the expectations. On the other hand, I know that all the passenger vehicle segment is overall in this month was mixed, you can say. But for Tata Motors, I think I would say that for accumulation front, they can do it but not overall, but maybe a little bit for now, because I'm a bit cautious. I am only positive on a two-wheeler side as of now. In passenger vehicles, I would like to see more of monthly updates. Then I would be having a confidence in that segment.
Okay, and Sundar, also coming to you, talking about the technical aspect of the counter. He bought it at 1,008. Currently, it's trading at 710, fallen significantly from the levels he has, invested in. So Looking at the charts, are you seeing any sort of upward momentum there reaching the similar levels he bought at?
Yeah, so Himakshi, I would straight away say no. The reason for this is pretty simple. Now, if you see the stock has beaten left right from 177 level, and it has made a low somewhere around say 535 on 7th April. Now, if you see this kind of upward rally from 7th April to say till date is very normal for a stock which has beaten so much. So I would suggest the viewer to exit this stock because I don't see further upside momentum. And if you see this particular momentum was based on the news-based rally, which was from the auto sector itself. So I would suggest the viewer to exit the stock. Rather, I would go on to the Mahindra and Mahindra stock. The weekly time frame of the stock look attractive. Now on weekly time frame, the stock has made a broadening pattern, and I could see that there is a kind of 50 and 20-day moving average crossover which has happened on 28th April, and the stock is currently into a retesting phase. Once the stock takes out the 1300 and the 3,200 level, then I would not be surprised, Himakshi, to see the stock trading at 4,500 level in coming quarter. So I would rather exit Tata Motor and enter into Mahindra and Mahindra stock.
Okay, okay. So Mahindra and Mahindra is being suggested over Tata Motors. Now we have Rahul joining us on the phone line, our very first caller from Bengaluru. Hi Rahul, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Please go ahead with your question.
I have around 3,700 shares of Infibeam Avenues
Okay.
at 26 apiece. It's currently in loss, but I'm hopeful and I want a long-term view on the, should I keep holding it? I can hold it for some time, some years, but yeah, should I keep holding it? What's the view on that?
Okay. Rahul, before I pose this question to our experts, I'd like to understand why are you positive about Infibeam Avenues?
I looked at recent events, recent news. It looks promising, and that's why I want to keep. I want to stay invested and see how it goes.
Okay, fair enough. Dinesh, our viewer Rahul from Bengaluru currently holds 3,700 shares of Infibeam at 26 rupees a piece. The stock has fallen down to 22, giving Rahul a loss of about 4 rupees per share. He is sitting on an accumulative loss of about 12,000 rupees. Now, if you speak of how Infibeam has been performing on the charts, especially it has dropped down consistently from December of 2024, and before that it was trading in the upper band, but although in a range-bound manner. How do you see the fundamentals of the stock, because it comes from a very competitive space, and what would your advice for Rahul be in order to tread this path carefully?
All right. So on a year-on-year front, they have done very stable set of numbers, not in terms of top line. So in top line, of course, they have done almost 25-26% growth. But in terms of margins, it's stable. And of course, the profits is also higher. So it would be a long-term market is not giving a multiples. Of course, as you mentioned that it is a competitive play, and almost 95% of revenue comes from the Indian market itself. So it's clearly that its median multiple of almost 45, 40, or 50 multiples, market is not giving that as of now. So it will take some time, not some time, maybe at least for 18 months or more. If before that we can see the earnings growth, maybe it is suggestible to wait for now. But they have to keenly check whether the fundamentals are increasing or not, and they have to keenly listen to the conference call what management is guiding in next quarters.
Okay, okay. So from that angle, if you are advising our investors to stay put with regards to Infibeam Avenues, Sundar, I'd like to know from you then, because the stock has consistently fallen, as I was mentioning to Dinesh, what would your rough resistance level be for this particular stock? And would you also go ahead and suggest anyone to accumulate at these levels?
Yeah, so Malika, I would not suggest to accumulate now. I'll tell you the reason why. So the stock has been correcting from 40 levels till say 16.5 level. Now again, this kind of fall, and apart from this, some kind of recovery is very much normal in this kind of structure. Now, talking about the roughly resistance, I would say the immediate resistance is it's 200-day DMA, which is currently placed at 2375, and I could see that the RSI level of 14 period on daily time frame is coming to a overbought kind of scenario, which is at 72.94. So we can round it up to 73. So I would, probably say that the stock could resist at 23 level, and it could again fizzle out till 20 and say 18 level in coming few weeks or say few months. But other than this, if you see, the stock doesn't look that attractive to me.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sundar. Now let's go across to a caller joining us from Ireland. So, first international caller on the show today. Hi, Arun. Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Yes, how can I help you
I
today?
have a query regarding Action Construction Equipment.
Okay.
I am holding around 1,200 shares at the rate of 195 rupees.
Yeah.
Bought nearly between 5 to 8 years.
Okay.
I'm a long-term investor.
Yeah.
I want to know if I can accumulate more or like this constitutes around 8% of my entire portfolio.
Okay,
So
and
do I
firstly,
trade?
yeah, I'd like to congratulate you, Arun, for making such significant profits of almost 13 lakh rupees there. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yeah, because you bought it at 195, currently it's trading at 1252. Remarkable. Without wasting much time, Dinesh, talking about Action Construction, strong set of Q4 numbers there. Margin was at 17.6%. Then it's a market leader in mobile and tower cranes as well. Defense vertical is also a key opportunity when we talk about this counter. What's your sense? What's your view on Action Construction? Should Arun stay invested in it?
I think he should. The one thing which I like about the most about the company is about its balance sheet. So balance sheet, there is no borrowings at all. So only 0.01% of debt to equity ratio, which is very good. And if I'll talk about as you mentioned, that quarterly numbers were great. So on a year-on-year front, margins were also nice and profit were also nice. And they are doing also great, consistently great, you can say, from last 4 years. So I think I don't see any reason for him to sell it. And overall, the segment is looking attractive as well. So he can keep on holding the stock.
Okay, and Sundar, talking about new investors who want to invest in this counter now. So do you think that the levels are a bit stretched now, or what suggestion do you have for them?
Yeah, Himakshi, I could see that the stock is into a strong uptrend, and from the 1st April 2024, the stock has been into a kind of falling channel of formation. But again, this kind of rally and this kind of sideways is very much normal into uptrend kind of stocks. But if I draw Fibonacci level, I could see that the strong support level is at 1081, and the stock is holding to that level, and it is closing above the 0.23 level of Fibonacci. So I would suggest, if anybody wants to accumulate or add the stock, then I would suggest the viewer to hold. I would suggest the viewer to wait till the stock crosses and closes below 1300 level on weekly time frame. And if the stock price closes above 1300 levels in weekly time frame, then I would be bullish on the stock, and I would expect a target. The first target will be at 2095, and the second target will be at 2400. Now the target which I have estimated is because of the Fibonacci extension levels.
Okay. Sundar, would you mind explaining what Fibonacci levels mean? Because I'm sure a lot of us do not understand, because these are very technical terms.
Yeah, so Malika, I would say, so say for instance, a stock has given a run up from say 100 to 200 levels. Okay. So if the stock wants to correct, then the first level will be at say it's 0.68, which is its golden ratio also. I mean, to be precise, the golden ratio is at 0.618. So the major support has been taken out to that level, and then 0.5 level is a major support. So these kind of levels are plotted by the Fibonacci level, and majorly if you see if the stock is into an uptrend and we need to find out some kind of support, then this is one of the best tool which I use majorly, and other technical analysts also use price action, but I majorly have a grip on this kind of indicator. So yeah, I won't much elaborate to this indicator, but this is what it is.
Thank you so much. It definitely helps us because you were using the term a lot more, and therefore I thought it was important for us to address what Fibonacci really means. Now I'm joined by Nilay from Patna. Hi Nilay, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, good evening. Please go ahead with your question.
I would like to know about Sharda Motors.
Okay.
I've currently purchased 80 shares at the rate of 1903
Okay.
for dividend and bonus purpose. And I've been trading daily on the daily basis for the last 8 months in this counter due to its wide fluctuations on a daily basis.
Okay, okay.
What should I do for this? Should I add more or for long term or what?
Okay, and Nilay, are you an active trader? Do you trade daily?
Yeah, I trade daily in this counter.
Okay, okay, understood. So you're asking whether you should add more shares, or what exactly should your further course of action be? Okay, okay, understood. Nilay from Patna, who is an active trader, currently holds 80 shares of Sharda Motors at 1,903 rupees a piece. The stock is trading around 1,905 rupees. And therefore, Sundar, I think you would be best to advise Nilay with regards to what his further course of action should be, because I see that the stock is trading very close to its 50 and 200 DMA. However, it has shown quite a bit of consolidation and weakness in the last couple of months. What would your suggestion to Nilay be?
Yeah, so firstly, Malik, I would like to correct you. The stock is not trading close to its 50-day moving average, but it is trading close to its 20-day and its 200-day moving average. Now, the 200-day moving average is acting as a strong resistance. If the stock somehow breaks out above the 1980 level, then the stock has the potential to reach till 2300 level. Apart from this, if the stock fails to give a breakout and it actually breaks its 20-day moving average, which is placed at 1838, then the stock looks bearish to me, and I would not be surprised to see the stock trading at around say 1490 levels. So this is a conditional bet. A breakout above 2000 could lead to a positive momentum till 300 or 350 points. A breakout below the 1880 level could lead to a bearish structure, and it could test its 1490 levels.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now let's go across to a caller joining us from Hyderabad. Hi Amit, good evening.
Amit, good evening.
Yes, how can I help you today, Amit?
Yeah, ma'am, before I start, I want to first congratulate NDTV Profit for such a focused business channel.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to us, Amit.
Yeah. Ma'am, my query is regarding IIFL Capital. I bought on 7th May 2021 at rate 63, 200 shares. I'm holding it for 4 years. I have I can hold it for another 10 years. Do you think it's a good stock?
Okay, so pretty long-term view on the counter. Dinesh, what do you have to say? Is it advisable for Amit to stay invested in IIFL Capital for another 10 years? Because currently, he has been holding the stock for 4 years, and he has made profits of around 59,000. So what suggestion do you have there?
All right. So first of all, if you have a long-term view of more than 5 to 10 years, volatility will be there in the stock. And if I see the numbers on a year-on-year basis, what I see is that on a top line basis, they are doing pretty decent, and on a bottom line front, they are doing very good because other income is clearly helping them out. And this quarter was, I think, on a margin front, they have not done very well. So these kind of, because that is dependent on how the market will be, because the overall business of the company is like that only. So based on the market trends and etc., if IPOs are coming and etc., so these things will help and will not help as well at the same time for the company to grow. So if he has a more than 5 to 10 years of waiting period, there would be volatility, but yes, he can hold the stock.
Understood. Thank you so much for that, Dinesh. And now we're being joined by Wasim from Gorakhpur. Hi, Wasim. Good evening. Namaste.
Very good evening, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
My query is for Waaree Energy.
Okay.
Actually, I bought this share Waaree Energy at high price in November, and the price was 3,400. And this share has definitely made a recovery, but is still not reaching at the price which I bought it. And I am very worried because of the high price. I am not even able to averaging it. So kindly suggest what can I do in this situation.
Sure. Dinesh, our viewer from Gorakhpur currently holds 295 shares of Waaree Energies at 3,400 rupees a piece, and his concern is that he bought them at a higher price back in the month of November. And although since then the stock price per se has made some recovery, but he is concerned with regards to its future trajectory. And speaking of Waaree Energies, although it is a strong solar energy player and also has a good order book in line, but from the perspective of its order book and other financial metrics that you may want to observe and take a look at, do you think it's a longer term play instead of a short one?
All right. So, yes, based on the numbers which I see, I think that is in this quarter 4, they have done very well because I can see the margins of 23% compared to only 14% last year, and on quarter front as well, it was higher from 21% in December quarter. And from perspective of year-on-year growth, I think from last 3 to 4 years in top line is being growing, and the margins is also consistently growing from 12% in March 23 to almost 19%. However, the debt part of the overall business remains a thing which needs to be observed. So what I would suggest on a quarter-on-quarter basis, they can on a half-yearly basis, of course, they can check the debt portion because it has increased in this year. And in terms of margin, in terms of valuations, median-wise valuation, it used to receive 45 to 50, and it is trading at the same levels. So what I would suggest is be very cautious in this counter, but definitely for now, they can hold.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now let's go across to a caller joining us from Bengaluru. Hi Kamath, good evening. Kamath, are you there on the phone line?
Short-term and long-term view regard. Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead. We can hear you.
My query is regarding Techno Electric, madam. I wanted to have the short-term and long-term view.
Okay.
I wanted to invest about 2 lakh rupees in that.
Okay, and you haven't invested in the counter yet?
Yeah, I have not invested. I wanted to invest.
Okay. So Dinesh, Techno Electric, the counter is in its upward trend since RailTel Corp has selected as the company as managed service data center partner to set up 10 megawatt data centers in Noida. So this is like a positive news coming in for the company. But talking about the fundamental aspect of it and comparing it to its peers, do you think it's an attractive bet and one can invest in this counter for long term?
See, first of all, I'm not keenly tracking this company very closely. So, but if I can just tell you about the numbers based on that, if you can create a view. So, of course, from last 3 years, they have on the margin fronts, of course, they are doing very well. And absolute EBITDA profit, you can say, it has jumped from 87 crores to almost more than 340 crores now. And their also balance sheet is very nice as well. In terms of recent quarter, if I'll talk about, yes, there was a jump in top line as well in terms of year-on-year, quarter-on-quarter, and in terms of margins, they also done very well, and profits is also very nice. So I think they are doing very well, and as you mentioned that they have also order book of I don't know the exact amount, but since I don't know exactly what is the order book, but based on the numbers, what I can say is they can hold as of now. But if you have a clarity on order books, we can judge based on the recent FY25 sales. So based on that, we can judge whether how much years of order book they have, visibility they have.
Right, Dinesh. And also, Sundar, coming to you on the technical front of it, you can see on the charts it's moving in its upward trend. So, what are the correct levels to enter for somebody who wants to invest in this counter?
Yeah, so I think so. It's a good idea to enter at the current market price itself, because the reason for this is that the stock is holding its long-term moving average. And apart from this, if you see, the stock has created a classical, and characteristic of an upturn that is higher as and higher low, and it is carry forwarding its momentum, and it is not losing, and it is also not fading out. So I would suggest anybody who wants to enter, they can enter at current market price. And my first target will be at 1780, which is the important resistance. And if the stock price closes above that level, then the stock will open its door to 2000 and 2100 level in coming few weeks.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that, Sundar. And now we're being joined by Venkat from Tirupati. Hi, Venkat. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, madam.
Please go ahead with your question, Venkat.
Madam, I have Vishal Mega Mart shares holding from the time of IPO.
Okay.
So now it is trading at 1 PE.
Right.
Should I hold it for long term? Actually, I am a long term investor.
Okay.
Should I hold it for long term, or should I sell it and go for another one?
Got it. Understood. Dinesh, I'll take this question to you. Venkat from Tirupati holds 190 shares of Vishal Mega Mart since the time of its, entry on the D Street at 78 rupees a piece, and the stock is now trading around 128. And he's also made a profit of about 10,000 rupees via this investment. He's asking whether he should continue holding his shares in Vishal Mega Mart. Now, although the financial performance of the company was great in Q4 with net profit jumping about 88% to 115 odd crore, I want to know from you your perspective on how do you see the margins expanding, because that was a bit moderate amongst all the other financial metrics, and do you see more legroom for our investor to make more profits from this investment?
On margin front, you mentioned that. So you mentioned that overall year-on-year basis, I think it was a decent. But yes, on a quarter-on-quarter basis, they were not doing very well in this quarter. Plus, their sales were also not better compared to the previous quarter of December quarters. However, if I talk about consistent growth over in the last 3 years, they are maintaining the 14% margins, almost 14% margins, and their overall profit has also increased, I think, from 300 levels to 600 levels. So they are doing pretty good over there. But of course, I think these companies always trade at a higher valuation. So caution is very important. So as we have seen in terms of DMart, right? Their margins are impacted because they are not able to do margins at clothes and other segments, apart from groceries, of course. So we have to be very cautious over here. If we see margin declining on a consistent basis, because since on a quarter-on-quarter basis it has declined, one more quarter of like something like this can hit the valuations. So it is very important to judge based on the quarters and what management is guiding based on the margins. So what I would suggest is for now, they can hold. If they have higher positions as a percentage of their overall portfolio, they can also consider reducing it.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much for that, Dinesh. And viewers, we will have to slip into a short break, but keep sending in your queries. We will be right back on Ask Profit, only on NDTV Profit.
The markets move fast,
and so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term? Buy, sell or hold?
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit and I'm your host Himakshi Bahugada, and along with me is my co-host Malika Mishra, and together we'll be taking up all your stock related queries on the show. So don't forget to WhatsApp us or call us directly. The numbers are there on your screens, and on the show we are joined by Dinesh Sane on the fundamentals and Sundar Kevat on the technicals. And viewers, we are live in the morning as well as in the evening. So this show is especially made for you all to just ask away your queries, whatever investments you're holding. Just this is your chance actually to get all your stock related queries answered. With that, we are joined by a caller from Bengaluru. Hi Neelkant, good evening.
Hi.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to thank NDTV Profit for conducting this series. It's quite insightful as you bring experts' opinion.
Thank you so
Basically,
much.
I have a query. Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Basically,
Yes.
I have a query on CDSL stock.
Okay.
I have 865 quantities
Yeah.
at 1289.
Okay.
I just wanted to understand from the long-term perspective, should I hold it or should I book a profit and then re-enter if any corrections are?
And Mr. Neelkant, when did you buy the CDSL shares? I'm just curious.
It's almost about an year.
An year. So in just a year, you've made profits of more than 4 lakh rupees there. Congratulations, Mr. Neelkant. We are actually thrilled to know this. And Dinesh, coming to you, talking about the fundamentals of CDSL, it's a strong company. But still, do you advise Mr. Neelkant to stay invested in it for long term, or do you suggest him to book some partial profits?
The profits are always nice. So if they can, judge based on that, so that is okay. So I would like to say that I can see there are several IPOs lined up in coming quarters, and I can see that one of the beneficiaries is this company. So I think for now they can hold in terms of valuations. Of course, they are always high, but on a median basis, I think from last 10 years, if I just mention, so 60 to 70 is a decent valuation to give this company. But of course, if they can pull it off with a higher earnings per share growth, maybe market is able to give 75 to 80 multiples, right? So based on that, of course, they can hold, but in case if they want to book some profits, it is very easy to do it these days. So I would suggest to do that as well.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And we have Dheeraj on the phone line from Hyderabad. Hi Dheeraj, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Today I bought actually Tata Consultancy Services TCS shares at 3376.
Okay.
62 shares.
Okay.
So since last 3 years the stock is not performing actually, can we expect good returns, like 10 to 15% returns in the next 3 to 6 months frame? Or should I shift to some other counter like Ganesha Ecosphere?
Okay. Okay, and why did you purchase these shares today, Dheeraj?
Actually, since the last 1 week, actually the stock is around 3,500 last week.
Okay.
So I expected a jump within a short span of 1 month.
Okay.
So I purchased these shares. So if TCS is not advisable, should I shift something like Ganesha Ecosphere is my query, ma'am.
Okay, okay, understood. Dinesh, Dheeraj from Hyderabad holds 62 shares of TCS at 3,376 rupees a piece, and he bought them today. His reason for buying was simply the fact that the price had fallen, and he was also expecting a quick upside in a span of 1 month. He's now wanting to know whether you would go ahead and advise him to continue holding his shares, because the stock price per se of this big IT giant has not moved dramatically in the last 3 years. And do you think the same is going to happen in the coming years? Because IT definitely is under pressure, and a lot of frontline companies have not performed that well. What's your take?
Okay, so two things. Firstly, based on, I think what I can see is Q1 would be not so surprising in terms of overall sale, overall revenue and profits. Everyone has guided almost decent set of growth, but some companies other than TCS, different companies in mid cap, they have not shown given a cautious stance, I can say. This is one thing. Second thing, everything is dependent on how the US economy will do. What can I see is that the big beautiful bill of Trump may or may not be good for economy overall, because what we have seen is there is a huge debt in US market which is continuously growing. So I'm a bit cautious on overall IT front as of now, given the fact that based on the macroeconomics, it is still keep on changing, and Q1 would be very cautious. So I would suggest not to hold. Maybe based on after Q1 and management commentary, if it is stable, they can consider buying afterwards.
Okay, this is just a follow-up on not just TCS, but say somebody who holds Infosys or other IT companies. And I've seen this is always like these frontline IT companies somehow become a part of a lot of diversified portfolios. And IT being such an inevitable part of these portfolios across the board. Speaking of TCS alone, Dinesh, the fact that the ROCE is better than its peers, and it is less vulnerable as compared to its peers to macroeconomic factors, don't you think somebody who's already invested in it should continue holding? I'm just trying to understand the reason for your conservative approach.
See, everything based on what the market will provide, because as of now, if I see based on the Q1 numbers and overall macroeconomic scenario, everything is dependent on macroeconomics. So everything is also based on what the orders they will get from different companies based in United States. So as you mentioned that, yes, comparatively it provides the cushion to the overall portfolio when the market is downwards, as these companies are defensive. So they provide us some kind of a cushion to the overall portfolio in terms of downward trend. So holding it for now, I would not suggest. Why? Because let's see what the management will say, what their overall guidance would be in terms of their growth and their orders which they will receive from United States particularly. So I would like to wait at least for 1 quarter.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now let's go across to a caller joining us from Vizag. Hi Swami, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, how can I help you on the show today?
I want to know about Bajaj Auto. Is this right time to enter?
Okay. And are you a long-term investor or a short-term investor?
Long-term investor.
Long-term investor, understood. So Dinesh, talking about Bajaj Auto, so it posted decent Q4 numbers. Even the brokerages are bullish on the counter. But considering China's rare earth magnet curb, these companies like Bajaj Auto or TVS Motors, they are fearing production hit and also a price rise there. So what's your sense on this space in particular? And also if we talk about Bajaj Auto, so what suggestion do you have for our viewers there?
Overall, I'm positive on auto and auto component segment as of now, because what I can see is on a particularly if I talk about the two-wheeler segment, as I mentioned. So in two-wheeler segment, I can see that TVS and Bajaj are taking over in terms of EV sales as well. right? So plus early monsoon season we have seen, and overall expectations that above uh, monsoon would be there of 106%. So what we can see is that overall growth in coming months can be better. Plus, in terms of tractor sale, if I'll talk about, yes, I'm also positive on that, but not in terms of passenger vehicles. So in this segment, I'm positive, particularly in two-wheelers. Yes, Bajaj Auto, the monthly numbers were decent. If I talk about the quarterly numbers, of course they have taken a hit in terms of margins and year on year and quarter on quarter front. But given the fact that if there is a growth in monthly numbers because of early monsoon in terms of volumes, we can see a higher multiple market can provide in coming maybe 1 quarter or 2 quarters. So yes, I would suggest that it is a good stock to accumulate.
Dinesh, then we spoke to some leaders of the industry as well this morning, and the interviews are available on the channel for anybody who's interested. And while the industry experts believe that largely, as you said, that the auto sector is insulated, but the EV space remains a pain point because that's where they need, they cannot function without rare earth minerals as a part of their machinery, and the manufacturing requires this element. So if, car makers are fairly insulated, but when you talk about the EV players, they seem to be a little worried and have sort of also reacted in a worried manner. Therefore, would you suggest investors to stay cautious from the EV zone and not the auto space zone?
Sure. In EV zone, particularly in passenger vehicles, as you mentioned, the company called Tata Motors, there would be some cautious, yes, but again, as I mentioned, that you are rightly saying it about the development, right? But still, if this is a growing development, we have to keep check whether how it will be going forward. So for now, based on the developments which I see, it is a decent play overall. But given the fact that if we overall development is, which we are saying, which you have just mentioned, is over the head, I think maybe they can sell their stocks after that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that view, Dinesh. Now let's go across to a caller joining us from Bengaluru. Hi, Setu. Good evening.
Good evening to you, madam.
Yes.
Yeah.
How can I help you?
Yes, thank you for taking my request. And I would like to know about Jubilant Ingrevia. I bought 700 shares at the rate of 731 rupees. So it is for a short term, and I would like to advise on that. Maybe for a month I may hold.
Okay, and when did you purchase these shares?
I purchased yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yesterday. Because in just one day you've made some losses there. So nearly 13,000. So without wasting much time, Sundar coming straight to you, he plans to hold this counter for 1 month. Currently it's trading at 713, and if we talk about today, it was also down in trade 2.5%. So what's your sense on the counter? What suggestion do you have?
Yeah, so Himakshi, if you see the daily time frame of the stock is into a sideways kind of trajectory, and I don't see any kind of reversal as of now. Now, talking about the important resistance to watch out for the stock is at 750, and the support level is at 698 to be precise. So I would suggest the viewer to place a stop loss below 698. If the stop loss is taken out, then we could expect more selling pressure from this counter. So I would rather, suggest him a stop loss. Other than this, yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. And we have Krishna from Bengaluru on the phone line. Hi, Krishna. Good evening.
Good evening. My question is Cochin Shipyard. Okay. So I have 52 shares of Cochin Shipyard. I bought it for 569 rupees.
Wow.
Okay.
When did you buy them?
Maybe a couple of years back.
Okay.
Okay. And I would like to know whether is there anything left further, it will go up, or I can hold for another 2 years. Still something left, or we have to come out of this? This I would like to know. And also, among these three, GRSC and Macdonald and Cochin Shipyard, which is a place we can further invest?
Okay, okay, understood. Dinesh, a very interesting query. Krishna from Bengaluru currently holds 52 shares of Cochin Shipyard at 569 rupees a piece. And by the looks of the price at which he bought them, I'm guessing that he bought them somewhere around 2023. So in just a span of 2.5 years or 3 years per se, he has made a profit that's just a shade below 1 CR. So that's amazing. But how do you see the counter and 1 lakh, how do you see the counter and given the PE ratio at which it is currently trading, do you think it is expensive to continue holding?
It's all about the execution front. After what we have seen on geopolitical front in last month, so based on that, what I see is that order execution would be very fast. At least what I can see is even other defense players other than Cochin Shipyard, like BE and etc., they are getting more orders, and it's all about execution in this segment. And execution is getting very fast. So given the fact that yes, overall sentiments in this segment is very high as of now, so of course in valuation somewhere has to stop. What I can see, yes, definitely it is a bit stretched based on what I can see overall. 70 to 80 times of multiples, it is already trading at 75 multiples as of now. So booking some profit would not harm its portfolio, at least in near term. Maybe if the overall stock is getting at good multiples afterwards, they can start accumulating later on. But for now, I would suggest is book some profits. Not if not full, booking some profit would be advisable.
Okay, thank you so much for that view. Now let's go across to a caller joining us from Hyderabad. Hi Abhijit, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for giving me opportunity to talk.
Most welcome. Please go ahead.
Yeah, yes. So I bought a Shankara Building.
Okay.
100 quantities.
Yeah.
20 days back.
Okay.
So now it is trading around 890. So I just want to ask whether I'm having 3 years of this view, long-term view. I just want to know what will be the future of this stock.
Okay, and if I may ask you, why did you invest in this counter in the very first place?
Yes. So I'm looking at this stock from last around 1 year, and I understand from chart that there are some investors who are investing gradually in this stock.
Okay.
And I can see that through the candles and volumes.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
from daily chart.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good that, when we when our callers and our investors are well informed about the stock they are investing in, it's always good to know that. Dinesh, without wasting much time, what's your fundamental outlook on Shankara Building? Because currently it's trading at 919. Are you bullish on the counter?
So I don't track this particular company, but given the fact that their margins are very thin and the consistency is not there in terms of earnings growth, right? So I would be very bit cautious, but in fact their overall debt position is also growing. In fact, in FY25, from 70 crores to 100 crores, it has increased. So there is some kind of maybe capex or anything is happening, but only judging based on earnings growth and margins, very thin margins of not even 4%. It is trading at 3%, but it is consistent for sure. This is a good point, but 3% is very thin, and as he mentioned that some investors are adding the stock. But if I talk about the shareholding pattern, in last 4 quarters, I think FIIs are selling in this counter. So solely based on the numbers, quantitative numbers, I would not suggest to keep on holding the stock and be very cautious.
Okay. Cautious take on Shankara Building. And now we have Ramachandra from Guntur. Hi, Mr. Ramachandra. Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Please go ahead with your question.
I have purchased 300 shares of Ashok Leyland.
Okay.
3 months back.
Okay.
At the rate of 210.
Okay.
Per share. what is the future of this company? Can I hold or sell? Or otherwise, can you please suggest me to go for any defense stock?
Okay, understood. Dinesh, our viewer Ramachandra from Guntur currently holds 300 shares of Ashok Leyland at 210 rupees a piece. The stock is trading around 234, and as a result of that, Ramachandra has made a profit of 7.18 thousand so far. He wants to know what the future of the company looks like, and could you give us a sense of how fundamentally is the company doing?
So as I mentioned that PV and CV segment, I'm cautious as of now. So again, I would maintain that stance in this company as well. But if I talk about the margins, yes, on quarter basis they have increased, and year on year basis they have also increased. And in terms of consistency, over the last 3 years they are doing very well. But given the fact that the debt to equity ratio is not good, so they are sitting at almost more than 4 times of debt to equity ratio. So that is somewhere down the line, it is impacting their profits for sure. So if they have to keep checking on a half yearly basis where this debt is going, but as I'm cautious in this segment for now, I would not suggest for a fresh entry.
Okay.
And Sundar, would you also be able to give us a technical sense, because the charts of Ashok Leyland, to me, they look really volatile. Would you agree with me here?
Yeah, Malika, I'll agree with you. The stocks look volatile, and apart from this, if you see the broader picture of the stock is into a kind of a sideways trajectory. The stock has tried to break out from its resistance, which was placed at 236, and the retest was not successful as it is seen from the 28th May action till date. And the short-term moving average, the price is close with the short-term moving average. So the short-term view remains negative on this stock, and I would not be surprised to see this stock trading at 2 to 4 levels. So yeah, the stock look volatile to me, and my view is negative on this stock. And apart from this, Malika, I have heard about the viewer that he wants a kind of defense stock. So I have a stock in my radar which is HAL, that is Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. Now the stock has given a strong higher rise and higher low pattern. Apart from this, then there is a kind of hold from 20th May. So if the breakout happens at 5,160, then the stock would reach the new high. So I think so this pick should also be considered in defense sector.
Okay, thank you so much for that. A buy on HAL and a sell on Ashok Leyland is what Sundar is suggesting for short term. With that, we are joined by a caller from Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar. Hi, Prashant. Good evening. Prashant, are you there on the phone line?
Yes, I am on the phone line.
Yes, please go ahead with the query.
Madam, I have query regarding Cyient, CYINT, Cyient.
Okay,
Limited.
Yeah.
I am holding 72 numbers and I brought them 5 months back at 1579. So I wanted to know the fundamentals of the company. I am a long-term investor.
For how long are you planning to hold?
I can hold for 2 years.
Okay, so 2 years horizon. Dinesh, coming straight to you, the results of Cyient were below the NDTV profit estimates, and the organic order book, if I look at, excluding the acquisitions, was also down for the 10th straight quarter. But keeping all these things in mind, how are you viewing Cyient from a long-term perspective?
All right. So as you mentioned that based on the order books which are continuously reducing on the quarterly fronts, and this is all I can see on a yearly basis as well. I think margins, they are not doing very well. So 17% was in 23 and 15% in this FY25 whole year, plus on a March quarter as well. Year on year they have not done very well, but yes, quarter on quarter I think they have done decent at least in terms of margins, but top line was very flattish, you can say. One thing to note is that though the perspective is overall, at least for medium term, is not good, given the fact that all the DIS are accumulating this stock. So there could be some development which can be happening for at least for 2 years if he's a view. What I would suggest is keep a keen view what exactly his management is saying in terms of guidance. But given the fact that I'm cautious as of now in this segment, in this company, sorry.
Okay, all right. And now we have Bhimanna calling us from Bengaluru. Hi, Bhimanna. Good evening. Bhimanna? Okay, not an issue. Bhimanna from Bengaluru currently holds 85 shares of Tata Tech at 1,100 rupees a piece, and he wants to know whether he can hold or sell. Therefore, Sundar, taking this question to you, what's your sense? Bhimanna is currently sitting on a loss of 28,000.
Yeah, I would suggest the viewer to exit the stock. Now I'll tell you the reason why. The stock has fallen from 1,132, and currently, if you see from past few days, the stock is trying to pick up some momentum. But again, if you see the 20th May action till date, the stock is into a sideways kind of territory. Then this is not expected in the trend reversal kind of thing. So I would suggest the viewer to exit the stock.
Okay, thank you so much, Sundar Kevat and Dinesh Thani, for joining us this evening and answering all the queries of our viewers. It's always a pleasure having both of you on the show. And viewers, you stay tuned to NDTV Profit. We're both live with Ask Profit in the morning as well as in the evening. So keep these numbers handy so that we can always help you with the best investment advice regarding your stock-related queries. And now I'm being joined by Sanjana Chauhan, who is here to tell us the top stories of Profit 360, the next bulletin on the other side.
Thanks so much for that, Malika. Himangshi, looking forward to Profit 360. We're going to be covering our top stories for the hour. First, of course, is Bajaj Finserv's stake sale. We're seeing an offloading of almost 5,800 crores in stakes. We're also looking at the latest with regards to the tragic Bengaluru stampede that claimed 11 lives. We understand that an FIR has been filed and the High Court will also be taking up the matter. And a shot in the arm for India, as Rafale fuselages will also be made in India between Dassault Aviation and Tata. And more on all of this after this very short break. Keep watching.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term? Buy, sell or hold?
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide for your hands? Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term? Buy, sell or hold?
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims?
The Nifty and Sensex sustained their buying momentum for a second straight session, with Nifty Realty and Pharma closing 1% higher, even as sectoral indices showed a mixed trend. Promoter entities Bajaj Holdings and Jamnalal Sons are set to sell up to 1.94% stake in Bajaj Finserv through a block deal valued at 5,828 crores. Dassault Aviation partners with Tata Advanced Systems Limited to manufacture Rafale fighter jets fuselages in India, marking the first time that these fuselages will be produced outside France. An FIR has been filed against RCB, event manager and KSCA at the Cubbon Park police station for the Chinnaswamy Stadium stampede, which claimed the lives of 11 people and over 30 were injured. With just about 30 days left, the existing stock of rare earth magnets is racing against a concerning alarm, but the industry says India has a good control over the situation and that the government is taking appropriate measures to prevent any notable disruption. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal reaffirms India's commitment to finalizing the free trade agreement with the EU before the end of the year. And on the BTA, sources tell NDTV Profit, India is considering offering concessions on non-sensitive agricultural imports such as almonds, pistachios, figs and apples from the US as part of the BTA discussion. And US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping speak by phone, marking their first formal conversation in months as trade and technology disputes continue to strain relations. Scammers are using deepfake technology to create shockingly realistic frauds, tricking investors. NDTV Profit's campaign helps you spot and avoid digital traps before they cost you. Stay vigilant. Good evening, you're watching Profit 360 on NDTV Profit. I'm Sanjana, bringing you the latest market updates along with top national and international stories over the next 30 minutes. Now let's take a look at how the markets fared today. The Nifty and Sensex sustained their buying streak for a second straight session, with Eternal and Dr. Reddy's emerging as the top gainers. On the sectoral front, Realty and Pharma climbed 1%, while broader indices ended mixed. For a full breakdown of today's market action, Puneet joining me now.
Well, it was a decent trading session today for both the Nifty as well as the Sensex, where it's closed in the green for the second consecutive day. We have seen stocks like Eternal and Dr. Reddy's being one of the top gainers in the Nifty. Though for Eternal, it was positive because of the CLSA brokerage note talking about the company's quick commerce venture. There is that overhang of selling pressure coming in sometime in the month of June. We've also seen the mid-cap jump higher for the second consecutive day, and that's the trend of the broader markets also, in line with the benchmark indices to trade positively as well. When you look at the small cap, that's actually jumped for the 10th consecutive day. That's the small cap 250. We've seen JM Financial and TV18 Broadcast as being one of the top gainers within the small cap 250, while the Realty and the Pharma Index were one of the biggest gainers for today. For tomorrow, there'll be one of the biggest triggers will be the RBI meet, where we could see some stocks in the banking space being very active, but the narrow trading range of 200 points in the Nifty between 24,600 and 24,800 remain as one of the key aspects to watch out for.
Thanks so much for that, Puneet. And moving on to an NDTV Profit exclusive, China's near monopoly on rare earth magnets is causing major disruptions across the global high-tech motor industry, affecting automotive, aerospace and semiconductor sectors. But in a significant development, sources are telling NDTV Profit that the Prime Minister's office and the Indian Embassy in Beijing are working to secure a crucial meeting with the Chinese Commerce Ministry, aiming to resolve export restrictions that have left Indian automakers struggling for suppliers. So with China controlling 90% of rare earth magnet processing, India's auto industry leaders are pushing for urgent intervention as stalled shipments threaten production timelines.
I think it is important that the world recognizes the dangers of critical mineral supply and processing being concentrated only in particular geographies, which at any point of time can hurt economic development. Also, we have a lot of encouragement given to startups, to R&D, to new innovators to find alternate and smarter solutions so that our over-dependence and over-reliance on certain critical minerals can reduce.
India's auto industry is getting all the help it needs to tide over the Chinese ban on rare earth exports, so much so that 7 Lok Kalyan Marg has now stepped in. According to sources, the Prime Minister's office as well as the Indian Embassy in China are now working with a delegation of Indian automakers to set up a meeting with the Chinese Commerce Ministry in Beijing. That's according to sources. Apart from that, at least 3 government ministries, that is the Heavy Industries Ministry, the Ministry of External Affairs, as well as the Ministry of Commerce Industry are also in discussions. Earlier, we had reported that a delegation of 50 members from car makers and industry bodies, ACME and Siam, were supposed to go to China this week, but that didn't materialize. What the future steps will be there, we will keep on reporting it to you.
Moving on, promoter entities Bajaj Holdings and Jamnalal Sons are set to offload up to 1.94% stake in Bajaj Finserv through a block deal valued at 5,828 crores. Now, the floor price per share is 1,880, reflecting a 3.3% discount to the last closing price. For more on this, let me quickly go across to my colleague Vishwanath, who's joining me on the phone line with all of the details. Vishwanath, we're understanding that the sale is aimed at maybe funding Bajaj Finserv's acquisition. If you could tell us more on this.
Yeah, so as we know that the deal between Bajaj Finserv and Alliance requires Bajaj Finserv to buy out Alliance's share in the insurance companies. It's likely that the funds that are raised through this block sale will be used to fund that purchase. This was a discussion